Hello again, my faithful subjects. Welcome to lesson 6.6/7, applications. We have many ins and outs to learn today. Please begin by writing down standard NS 1.7 in its entirety. I have whited out the part you don't need. Please write down that which is in bold and which is not. I assume you have paused the video and are ready to move on. Take a moment and recall this basic sentence upon which all percent problems are based. The part is a percentage of the whole. As is true in this basic percent problem, 40 is 50% of 80, where 40 is the part, 50 is the percent, and 80 is the whole. We will refer back to this pattern over and over again throughout the lesson. And remember, if you like the equation method, this simple statement becomes 40 is 50% turned into a decimal or fraction of, meaning multiply, 80. 0.5 times 80 is 40. If you prefer the proportion method, we put the part over the whole and set that equal to the percentage over 100. And now let's relate the proportion back to the original sentence. The part is a percentage of the whole. It follows that pattern as you read it. The part is a percentage of the whole. The point of this lesson is to take what you already know about computing percentages and applying that to real-world examples like discounts and markups, commission, profit, and simple interest. We are going to compute all of these things today. Now, discount and markup were already covered in lesson 6.5, so let's assume that you understand it fairly well and examine the pattern that we're going to use to apply to all of the new applications of percent problems we're going to learn today. Here is the basic idea of discount fit to that example sentence. The discount amount is a percentage of the retail price. Take, for example, a pair of jeans that normally sells for $50, now on sale for 20% off. You're asked to find the sale price. First, you must calculate the discount amount. The discount amount is unknown, so therefore we will use X. And following the sentence, the discount amount X is, meaning equals, a percentage. In this problem, 20 is our percentage. We need to write it as a decimal or fraction, like 0.2, times, we'll use parentheses this time, the retail price, which is $50. And now I just need to do 0.2 times 50, and find that X equals 10, or $10. Let me set this problem up again, using the proportion method this time. The discount amount is our X, our part. Our percentage is 20%. 20 over 100, the percent always goes over 100. And the retail price is the whole, because of the word of, so it goes on the bottom. And now simplify, cross multiply, and solve. I'll avoid simplifying and just cross multiply. 50 times 20 is 1,000. 100 times x, 100x. Divide both sides by 100, and x equals 10. X was our discount amount, so our discount amount is $10. Pay close attention to each of these questions. This one is asking for the sale price, not the discount amount, so we have a little more calculating to do. So you must also know that the sale price is the original price, the retail price, minus the discount amount. So the sale price was $50 minus the discount amount $10. The sale price is $40. I'm going to do another example problem, this time using markup, which again you learned in lesson 6.5, so I'll go through it quickly just to give you an idea of using this basic sentence and to create your equation or proportion method. So in this one, the markup amount is a percentage of the wholesale cost. The wholesale cost is what a store like Old Navy purchases jeans for before they sell them. They buy them from some factory in China or something. So they purchase them for $10. Then they mark them up for 300%. That's here in the example problem. $10 for the jeans, 300% markup. The markup amount is what we don't know. So again, the markup is, that's X, markup is a percentage, in this case 300%, as a decimal. That would be 3 or 3.0 because it's 3 times as much. The wholesale cost, which is $10 in this question. And I'll do it once more with the proportion method. The markup amount is the part, that's our unknown, is a percentage of, our percentage this time is 300 over 100, a percentage of the wholesale cost, $10. I'm going to work these out really quick. Using the equation method, I just have to do some simplifying. 3 times 10 is 30. So the markup amount is 30. Using the proportion method, I'll simplify first. 300 over 100 becomes 3 over 1. 1 times x is 1x, or just x, and 3 times 10 is 30. So the markup amount is 30. You also must know that the markup amount is added to the wholesale cost to get the retail price. So here's our sentence. The retail price is the wholesale cost plus the markup amount. So Old Navy takes the $10 they paid for it, adds the $30 markup amount to arrive at the $40 cost retail price of the jeans. Okay, sales tax is new for this lesson, so I'll slow it down a little bit and do flow maps for these examples. Sales tax is new for this lesson, but you have probably encountered it before. Sales tax is a percentage of the price that gets added to the price, so you actually pay more than the price that you see on the menu or on the sticker. The first step for this problem, and for all of these problems, will be to identify our part, percentage, and whole. In this first sentence we can find that our part is our sales tax amount, our percentage, and then our retail price is our whole. So that's the first step in the flow map, and for this example problem that says our new sales tax rate is 8%, how much will a $50 pair of jeans cost after tax? Our percentage is usually easy to find, and that is 8%, so I'll label that with the little percent sign. And the retail price is the $50 we've been working with before. That's the whole. And then the part is the tax. It says after tax, that's our part. We need to know what that is to add it to the $50. Now that we've identified the parts, percentages, and wholes, we can set up our equation or proportion. I'll do this quickly because I'm assuming the color coding will help. And there you have it. I set up the equation or the proportion method. You can just pay attention to the one you prefer. And now let's go ahead and solve. Notice once again that when you use the equation method, you need to convert the percentage into a decimal or sometimes fraction form. When you're using the proportion method, you can reduce the fraction before solving. Either way, x equals 4. Since x represented our sales tax amount. That means our sales tax amount is $4. And finally, the last step in all of these questions is to answer the question asked. This doesn't ask what is the tax, it asks how much will the jeans cost. They cost $50, but after tax, which is $4, they will cost $54, the cost of the jeans plus the sales tax. I don't mean to be painfully obvious here, but you need to refer back to this sentence here. The total tax is the retail price plus the sales tax amount. You need to understand that to be able to answer each of these questions. Okay, let's move on. Next we are going to talk about profit, which is the amount of money that the person selling something gets to keep for themselves. If you remember the jeans that Old Navy purchased from the Chinese factory in example 2 when we talked about markup, they paid something for them, but then they marked up the price and they keep the difference for themselves. That difference is called the profit amount. In that problem, Old Navy's cost for the jeans was $10, and the retail price for the jeans we calculated to be $40 after their 300% markup. According to this sentence here, which tells us where the profit amount comes from, we can determine the profit amount to be $30 because that is the difference between the retail price and the wholesale cost. 40 minus 10 equals 30. That's the profit. You might be thinking then, isn't the profit amount the same as the markup amount? And yes, it is. But the profit percentage is not the same as the markup percentage, because the markup percentage was a percentage of the wholesale cost, but the profit percentage is a percentage of the selling price. So because they use different numbers in the calculation, the percentages are not the same. Getting back to the question asked, what is Old Navy's percent of profit for this pair of jeans? We're always using this sentence here and identifying the part, percentage, and whole. The part is the profit amount, which in this case we know the part is our profit of $30. The percentage is what we don't know. That's what the question is asking for. So we'll call it X for now. And then the whole in a calculation of profit percentage is the selling price, and the selling price or retail price is $40, so that's our whole. Now we can set up our equation or proportion using the part, percent, and whole we found to fit the original sentence. Pause the video and pay attention to the color coding if you're at all confused about where these numbers came from. I'll go ahead and solve each of these. And there you have it, 0.75 or 75 depending on which method you use. Remember, when you're using the equation method and you start with a percentage or you solve for the percentage, it needs to be converted back and forth between percent and fraction or decimal. So that's 75%. In the proportion method, since the x holds the place of a percent, it's already in percentage form. It's 75%. Finally, we need to be sure we answer the question that was asked, and in this case that is, what is the percent of profit? And the answer then is that Old Navy earns 75% profit on these jeans. Next we come to the concept of commission. Commission is how a salesperson is paid. It is a percentage of the price of whatever they sold. So whether they sell a refrigerator or a car or a house, they earn a commission, which is a percentage of the price of the thing that they sold. Their total earnings then is whatever they make in commission plus any salary they might make. They might make an hourly wage regardless of how much they sell. Real estate agents, for example, typically do not earn a salary, but they do earn commission for every home or other type of property they sell, and it's usually 3%. And in this example, you're asked what is the commission on a $1 million home sale. So, using our magic sentence here, let's identify the part, percentage, and whole in the example problem. The commission amount is the part, and that's what we're asked for. What is the commission? So that's our part. And what is the percentage? That's 3%. That's given to us. And what is the selling price? In this case, that is $1 million. We have identified the part, percentage, and whole. So let's go ahead and set up our equation or proportion. And there we go. The commission amount is what we don't know, so that is our unknown, or x. The percentage in the equation format needs to be changed into a decimal or fraction. Otherwise, in the proportion form, it just goes right here over 100. And then our selling price, which our magic sentence tells us is the whole, is $1 million. And we don't want to just write 1 mil, because we're going to end up reducing that number, and we need to know exactly how many zeros we're working with. Alright, so now we can go ahead and solve these equations. And whichever method you choose, so long as you multiply or divide carefully, you get 30,000 for x, and x was holding the place of our part, which is the commission or commission amount. So now we can answer the question asked, which is, what is the commission on a $1 million home sale? Well, this agent would earn $30,000 in commission. Cha-ching! But let's talk about the people who are really making money from the sale of a $1 million home. They are the bank, the people who loan the money for the purchase of the home. The money they make is called interest. And I imagine that these are a lot of new terms for you, so please take a moment and write them down. Beginning with the magic sentence there, that the interest is a percentage of the principal amount. As you see below, that's the original amount borrowed or invested, times the number of years. The interest, again, is the amount of money that the bank charges someone for borrowing money from them. Interest also can benefit someone who has money by putting it in the bank. The bank then pays them interest for allowing them to use their money while they don't need it. The word rate is included here because it's commonly used to describe the percentage of interest. So you just need to know that when you see the word rate, that just means percent. Notice in our magic sentence that there are 4 different terms of a different color that we're going to use to plug into our equation or proportion instead of the usual 3. So pay close attention to where those numbers end up. We're talking about our example $1 million home. Somebody bought that home. the agent made $30,000, but let's see how much the bank makes by loaning the new homeowner that $1 million. I'll continue using the same flow map so you can see that these problems are still solved the same way. But notice the one difference here, that since we have the fourth component, which is the number of years, just think of the principal amount times the number of years as the whole. Those things together will sit in place of the whole in our equation or proportion. So that's our whole, and let's identify the whole in the question, which is still our $1 million. Then our interest, if the interest is how much interest will they pay, here's our part, our interest, and that's what we don't know. That's our unknown. And then the percentage, the interest rate, is right here, 5%. And the number of years, which is part of our whole, but that's 30 years. And watch how that gets set up when we set up the equation. So when we are setting up our equation or proportion, our principal amount, the starting amount, which was $1 million in this case, is part of the whole. The other component of the whole is the number of years, 30 years. And here it is again in the proportion, $1 million, 30 years. Now let's go ahead and solve each of these. And the interest amount, I used the letter I as the variable in this case. The interest is $1,500,000. That is just the amount of interest the borrower will have to pay to the bank. So the last step in our flow map, which says answer the question asked, we actually have two questions here. The first one is, how much interest will the new homeowner pay? So the buyer will pay $1,500,000 in interest to the bank. The second question is, how much does the house actually cost by the time you pay back the loan? And that would be the cost of the house at $1 million plus the interest at $1,500,000. So the total cost of the home is in fact $2,500,000. Now I'm going to walk you through a series of example problems using all of the terms that you just learned in this lesson. If you think you got the hang of it or just want to try, I recommend pausing the video and trying to set these problems up and then solve them, and then watch the video and see how I did it and see if you got the same answer. I'm going to use the proportion method exclusively for these sample problems to save time. If you like the equation method, it should still line up to what I'm doing with the proportion method, and of course you should get the same answer. So good luck to you. Alright, now let's suppose I had the money to buy my wife diamond earrings for our anniversary, and they're on sale for 20% off the original price of $750. What was the sale price after the 20% discount? Well, let's go ahead and identify the part, percentage, and whole in this question, remembering the magic sentence that discount is a percentage of the original price. So here's our whole, the original price. Here's our percentage, 20%. And what we don't know is the part, the discount amount. So I set up my proportion using the letter D to represent my unknown, the discount amount. Below that is the whole, which is 750, and the other side of the proportion is 20%, 20 over 100. And now we can simplify and then solve. By solving the equation, I find that D, or the discount amount, is $150. But remember, the discount is what is subtracted from the original price to find the sale price. So, to answer the question I'm being asked, what is the sale price? Take the discount amount off, and that is $600. The earrings cost $600. Alright, now let's suppose that the salesperson who sold me those earrings earns 18% commission. So let's identify the part, percentage, and whole to find out how much she earned for the sale. Here's our percentage, quite obviously, 18%. And we got to look back here to find our whole, which is the selling price of $600. And what we're trying to find is how much did she earn. That's the part, that's our unknown, that's her commission amount. Pause the video and see if you can set up the proportion correctly to find out her commission amount. There it is. Did you get it? I'll pretend you did and move on. And we'll go ahead and solve this proportion. Solving the proportion. Pause the video again and see if you can solve it correctly. Here comes the answer. And it is $108 or $108. That is the salesperson's commission on the sale of the earrings. Remember, our sales tax is 8%, so what would the cost of the earrings be to me after tax? Now, I don't pay the salesperson commission. I don't pay an additional $108. That's what the store gives to her out of the $600 I pay. So I'm just going to pay 8% out of the $600. See if you can set up your proportion again. And pause the video and go ahead and solve if you get that far. The part is again what we're looking for, the sales tax. We don't know what that is. I'll use T this time. The percentage is obvious. It's here. It's 8%. And the whole is the $600 I paid. There's your proportion. Check your equation. Your equation should say T equals 8 or 0.08 times 600 if you're using the equation method. Now go ahead and solve. And T, or the sales tax amount, is 48. Notice that I didn't reduce my fraction before cross multiplying because I could tell it would be an easy number to multiply and then an easy number to divide by 100. So T equals 48. The sales tax is $48. The question I am asked, however, is what's the total cost for the earrings after tax? So I need to add the $600 to the $48 tax to get $648 total after tax. Now let's suppose I had to take out a loan to pay for these earrings, and the bank that was willing to give me money for them will charge me 10% interest for 2 years. How much interest will I have to pay back? Take a look at your interest example and try and set up your proportion or your equation on your own. Pause the video now before I put it on the screen. Did you correctly use 648 as your total and not just 600? I don't even have $48 to pay the tax. I need to borrow all $648. So that's part of the whole. That is the principal, the amount borrowed. And remember that the other component of the whole in an interest problem is the loan term, the number of years, in this case 2. So I have 648 times 2 down here as my whole, and then the percent should have been pretty obvious for you there. That's 10%, and then the interest is what we're trying to figure out, and I use the letter I. Okay, go ahead and solve and see what you get. I got $129.60. And to make sure I'm answering the question asked, it's asking how much interest will I have to pay. So that's all I need to state, that it's $129.60. Of course, if it asked what would be the total cost of borrowing the money to pay back for the earrings, I would have to add the $648. Which makes the grand total for the earrings $777.60, more than the original price of the earrings if there was no discount. Well, I think that about wraps her up. We have solved some problems involving discounts, markups, commissions, profit, and simple interest, and we'll be sure to work more with it in class. I'll see you tomorrow.